In a vibrant corner of South Africa, under a vast sky painted with hues of gold and crimson, a boy named Rolihlahla Mandela came into the world on July 18, 1918. His name, meaning pulling the branch of a tree in Xhosa, hinted at the stir he'd cause, though some whispered it meant troublemaker, a fitting prophecy for a man destined to shake the foundations of injustice. Born into the Thembu royal family in the tiny village of Mvezo, Rolihlahla grew up surrounded by rolling hills and endless fields, where the air carried the scent of earth and freedom. His father, Gadla Henry Mfakanyiswa, a proud chief and advisor to the Thembu king, stood tall in the community, respected but not rich. His mother, Nokafi Nosekeni Fanny, a woman of deep faith, wove lessons of kindness and humility into her son's heart. Life in Mvezo was simple, untouched by the modern world. Rolihlahla's days were filled with barefoot adventures, herding cattle through dusty trails, splashing in clear streams, and gathering around fires to hear elders spin tales of warriors who defied impossible odds. These stories lit a spark in the boy, planting dreams of leadership and courage. His father once said, "A true leader serves, not rules." Words that would echo through Rolihlahla's life like a guiding star. But at 9, tragedy struck. Gadla fell ill, his strength fading like the embers of a fire. When he passed, the world tilted for young Rolihlahla. His mother, with quiet resolve, took him to the great place, the palace of Chief Jongintaba Dalindyebo, the regent of the Thembu people. The chief welcomed the boy as his own, opening a world beyond the mud huts of Mvezo. In the palace, Rolihlahla watched leaders debate, learned the weight of tradition, and began to understand the responsibilities of power. At 7, he stepped into a Methodist school, where his teacher, Miss Mendingane, gave him a new name, Nelson. It was a custom for African children to take English names, and though he didn't grasp why, Nelson embraced it and threw himself into learning. Books became his gateway to worlds beyond. Tales of African heroes resisting colonial chains fueled his imagination. He soaked up English literature, geography, and history, his mind hungry for knowledge. Education, he'd later say, is the weapon to change the world. As Nelson grew, so did his awareness of the shadows creeping over his country. South Africa groaned under apartheid, a cruel system that tore people apart based on the color of their skin. Black South Africans couldn't vote, own land, or live where whites did. The injustice burned in Nelson's chest, especially after a Xhosa initiation ceremony at 16, where elders mourned the oppression of their people. Their words stirred a fire in him, a call to fight for justice. At 19, Chief Jongintaba arranged a marriage for Nelson, but his heart yearned for a different path. Defiant, he fled to Johannesburg, a city pulsing with life and struggle. There, the divide was stark. Black workers toiled for scraps in cramped townships like Alexandra, while whites lived in luxury. Nelson took a job as a night watchman at a gold mine, his days heavy with labor and his nights lit by candlelight as he studied. Hunger gnawed at him, but his dream of education kept him steady. In Johannesburg, Nelson found a new family in the African National Congress, ANC. At secret meetings, he absorbed fiery speeches and shared his vision for a South Africa where all could stand equal. He enrolled at the University of Witwatersrand, one of the few black students studying law, facing scorn but forging ahead. "It always seems impossible until it's done," he'd say, his words rallying others to the cause. In 1944, love found him in Evelyn Ntoko Mace, a nurse whose passion for justice matched his own. They married, building a home filled with hope and the cries of their children. But Nelson's fight pulled him away. His nights spent planning with the ANC Youth League, a bold group he helped form to shake the old ways and rally the young against apartheid. The year 1948 tightened the chains. New apartheid laws crushed black lives further, dictating where they could live, work, even love. Nelson and the ANC fought back with peaceful protests, strikes, and marches. Inspired by Gandhi's nonviolence, thousands joined, risking everything. The government answered with brutality. Protesters beaten, jailed, or killed. Nelson faced arrests but stood firm. Courage, he said, is not the absence of fear, but inspiring others to move beyond it. In 1952, Nelson and his friend Oliver Tambo opened South Africa's first black law firm, a beacon for those crushed by apartheid's weight. By day, Nelson fought in courtrooms. By night, he strategized with the ANC. But the 1960 Sharpeville massacre, 69 peaceful protesters gunned down, shattered hopes of nonviolence alone. The ANC was banned, and Nelson helped form Umkhonto we Sizwe, the spear of the nation, targeting government structures, not lives, to weaken apartheid's grip. Now a wanted man, Nelson became the Black Pimpernel, slipping through South Africa in disguises, rallying support, even traveling abroad to plead their cause. But in 1962, the net closed. Arrested for sabotage and treason, he faced a trial that shook the world. From the dock, he spoke, "I dream of a democratic society where all live in harmony. It's an ideal I'll live for, and if I must, die for." Sentenced to life, he was sent to Robben Island, a desolate prison where hope seemed to wither. Life on Robben Island was brutal. Nelson broke rocks in a limestone quarry, slept on a thin mat in a tiny cell, and endured cruel guards. One letter, one visitor every 6 months. Yet he refused to break. He studied Afrikaans to understand his captors, taught younger prisoners, and kept hope alive. "I am an optimist," he said. "I keep my head toward the sun, my feet moving forward." Outside, his name became a global cry. "Free Nelson Mandela" echoed in protests, songs, and banners. South Africa faced sanctions, strikes, and growing unrest. In prison, Nelson's spirit grew stronger. He began secret talks with the government, knowing peace, not revenge, was the path. After 27 years, on February 11, 1990, at 71, Nelson walked free, his gray hair catching the sunlight, his spirit unbowed. "I am a servant of the people," he declared. "The time for healing is now." The streets exploded in joy, but South Africa was fractured. Many craved vengeance. Nelson chose forgiveness. He met with former oppressors seeking unity. As ANC leader, he pushed for democracy. On April 27, 1994, history turned. South Africans of all races voted, and Nelson became their first black president. His inauguration was a tapestry of hope, with world leaders watching as he vowed, "Never again shall this land know oppression." As president, Nelson wove unity. In 1995, he donned the Springboks jersey, a symbol of white South Africa, to cheer their Rugby World Cup victory, showing reconciliation's power. The poem Invictus guided him. "I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul." After one term, he stepped down in 1999, proving leadership isn't about clinging to power. In his later years, Nelson championed peace, education, and the fight against poverty and HIV/AIDS. When he passed on December 5, 2013, at 95, the world wept. Presidents, artists, and ordinary people mourned a giant whose legacy stretched far beyond South Africa. He taught that hope and perseverance could move mountains. "I never lose," he said. "I either win or learn." His story speaks to us all. In every challenge, every fall, we can rise. A kind word, a stand for justice, a refusal to give up. These are the threads of leadership woven by anyone, anywhere. Nelson's journey wasn't just about freeing a nation. It was about showing the world that one person's dream, fueled by love and determination, can change everything. So, when life feels heavy, remember his words. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Let his legacy inspire you to keep going, to fight for what's right, and to make the world a little brighter.